Wikipedia is a good place to get a quick survey of like that field. There's also just like reading book descriptions on Amazon. So I spend more time than, I don't know, like I can't imagine there's many more people in the world who spend more time than I do, like researching books to read, because the act of actually researching which books to read is actually really high leverage. So like I have read like some very large percentage of all books published by major publishers. Like I have read the title and I have read the description of the book, because the author is basically trying to like make their most compressed take on their theory in the description. Like the title tells you oftentimes what the theory is, and then the description is like the 1 or 2 paragraph, like further expanded version of it. So that's like way higher leverage than like random 2 paragraphs in other books, right? And so,
I never thought about that way.
Yeah, so I've read thousands of books, but I've read like tens of thousands of like book titles and descriptions. Like I've gone through at Barnes and Noble like many times at this point. I've gone through and I've just read every single book title in the store, minus certain sections.
That's crazy.
Relevant. Like, yeah, like
so
for example,
like just walking around the store and just reading like each title one at one.
Yeah, so an example of this is like, so I would go to Barnes and Noble and I would go to like the history section and I would just read every single title in the history section. And then like while I'm going, I would like some percentage, maybe like 1 in every 15 books, I would like pull the book off the shelf and I would look at the cover and then I would read the back of the book, you know, or the front flap. And so basically like I would go spend like, 5 hours at Barnes and Noble and I would read like, let's call it maybe like 4,000 book titles. And I would read like, I don't know, maybe 400 like book flap summaries of the book, right? And I'd flip through a few hundred books as well, like looking at the table of contents, which is also really high information density, depending on the subject area, right? The more like if it's like a pop sci book, then they tend to have like cutesy chapter titles that don't convey any information. But if it's like a more how-to book or like a textbooky book, they tell you a lot of information in the table of contents. So like I flip through a shitload of books and I just like I look for like what kinds of things are they talking about and like what are the graphs, what are the subtitles, chapter headings, things like that. But the main thing is, yeah, so like maybe like 4,000 book titles that I read, 400, let's call it like book jackets that I read for their quick summaries. I make a giant list of books that I want to buy or like look into more. I usually will then buy them on Amazon because I can't carry the books with me because I'm fully nomadic and I can't fit physical copies of books. And also I've got like all kinds of crazy systems with my notes that I can't do if I have like analog like notes. They need to be digital.
I can just picture I can picture an Amazon. No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, like, just imagine what happened if you went into Barnes and Noble and you spent like 3 days and you just like read 20,000 book names. Like, think of like how that would expand your like all the possible categories of things that you could learn. And definitely one thing that'll happen is like you'll be really excited to read the next book that you start reading. Because you will have surveyed the landscape of books, like, oh my God, there's so much wisdom, there's so many books, so little time. And then you'll start like neglecting your children and your job, and you'll find yourself just wanting to read books all day.